Holly Hill Inn.
Holly Hill Inn.
Ouita Michel, we finally meet. I've been wanting to talk to you for the longest time. Everywhere I go, you know, we do food, very simplistic, fun,
Right.
traditional type stuff. But then I start hearing people say, you need to go see her.
Aww.
Helen. And so we
Makes me
finally
feel
meet,
good.
and you are the nicest, down to earth. You're not a food snob.
No.
You're a very real person. And we talked before the cameras rolled, and you know, I compare you to a musician.
Aww.
You think of, or an artist who they're not into the whole thing because of the fame or the glory or anything like that. A musician, a true musician, likes the blending of the sounds and the harmonies and all this. You have a gift.
Oh man.
No, seriously.
That makes me feel so great.
My food journey has just started. You've been around the world 160 times. Tell us how you got into the food deal. How in the world did you get this spread? How did you become interested in this whole process, never-ending process?
Well, I grew up in Kentucky. I grew up in Lexington. From the time I was 16, I loved cooking and loved restaurants. My mom went back to work when I was 15, and so it became my job to cook dinner for our family. Not every night, but maybe 3 or 4 nights a week. And we had Japanese exchange students come stay with us one summer, 2 summers in a row. And they taught us how to make tempura and all these things. Well, it just opened up a world of, I think that was maybe the first time I realized that people in other countries eat very different foods. It was maybe the beginning of it, but I went to UK and I moved to New York City, opened up the New York Times, got a job in a restaurant, and that was in 1987. So I hate to date myself that way, but that was a long time ago, and I've cooked basically every single day of my life since then, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And the other night, we came in here and it was Indian food for the most part.
It was Lord Krishna's cuisine, which is, you know, they eat no beef, they eat a lot of butter and milk because they have all these sacred cows like running around. But the week before that it was Korean, the week before that is Japanese. Now once we move into the growing season, we're a farm-to-table restaurant, so we go straight back to Kentucky for racing, and then all summer long, part of what we do is say, look at the bounty that we live in. The Holly Hill Inn is in the middle of central Kentucky. We're on a 10-acre lot. We've got farms all around us.
But today, what are you cooking?
This is a dish that's based sort of on a French classic called duck à l'orange. But we're going to do it with chicken because I feel like good cooks are often judged by how they cook chicken. So we have a local chicken breast. It's been brined slightly, a little bit of bourbon, brown sugar, and water, and then laid out, and I kind of air dry it in the fridge to dry the surface. And we're going to do that with a bourbon orange sauce, some caramelized oranges, and then we have sautéed greens and wild rice pilaf and some other things.
I'm going to stand out of the way, stand back and watch you create.
Okay. Yeah, a little duck fat here. Whenever we get duck, we get the whole ducks in, and we render all the extra fat, which there is a lot on the duck. So we're just going to sear the skin side down in a little bit of duck fat, with a little bit of salt and pepper. We use Todd Clark's chicken, Clark family chicken out of Winchester. So we brine a lot of our birds in a little bit of bourbon, a little bit of water, a little bit of brown sugar, and maybe just for about an hour, some salt. And then we pull that out, and that just plumps the flesh of the chicken and adds a little bit of flavor. And in this pan here, what I've done is taken some fresh orange juice, just a regular orange juice from the store in a gallon jug, and reduced it. And that's what it ends up looking. You're essentially making your own orange juice concentrate. So a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of allspice. Those warm spices go really well with orange. A little bit of white pepper, and then just a pinch of clove. This is a little bit of soy sauce. And soy sauce is nice because it gives it a little salt, but also a little bit of what we call umami, or, you know, savoriness. And then, of course, sorghum. Soy and sorghum and bourbon are fantastic combination together. And we'll whisk that together, and then we're going to add a little bourbon to it.
I wish everybody could smell this right now.
So this is like based on the Kentucky, on a French recipe, but it's super Kentucky. We'll add a little bit of bourbon to the pan. And see, there's no flour or anything in that. It's just a reduction process. We'll flip the chicken. We're going to brown it a little bit on this side. In this pan here, I want to show you, we started caramelizing some oranges, and it's a really nice way to make sort of a quick candied orange. And all I did with these was saute these little orange slices in a little bit of butter, and then you just add a little bit of brown sugar to them and a little bit of bourbon to them. And you have this nice sauce and also these really lovely caramelized oranges. So we'll lay that right on top of the chicken once we plate the dish. You never want to pour bourbon straight out of a bottle into a pan because it could ignite from the pan up into the bottle and explode the bottle. So I always go into a little cup, baste our chicken a little bit. And that's kind of a pan steaming technique. So I always cook chicken breast that way, especially chicken breasts that are boneless or semi-boneless like this one. And then we're going to move some of our sauce in here, baste the bird a little bit, and we'll put this in the oven. Just probably only needs about 8 to 10 minutes in a 350 or so degree oven. And that sauce will continue to reduce a little. And while we're baking that, we'll saute our greens. So we'll have a mix of spinach, pea shoots, and watercress. Okay, and this is a little bit of shallot. And I think in the winter, it's really nice to have these sort of heartier greens. And watercress is the most nutrient-dense green you can eat. Has the most nutrients per calorie of any green. And all these little shoots and sprouts are really high in nutritional value too. And that's a big part of what we're trying to do. And usually what I do is just get them started. I'm going to season them slightly and then we're going to turn off the heat. And a little bit of parsley. So parsley has more nutrients than broccoli. Grow those herbs in your garden because they're so good for you. So we're just going to be checking on our chicken and then we'll set everything up.
All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Dude, I hope you like. Now this would be a great sauce on venison, really, and
Oh.
wild turkey too. If you're getting any of that wild turkey and your doves.
That may be one of the best reductions I've ever had in my life.
Oh,
Oh my!
it's all this complexity of the spices and the orange juice and the soy and the sorghum, but it does feel like Kentucky, doesn't it, when you're eating it?
Yes. I might cry.
Here.
This is not right. Now, all Kentucky stuff right
Yeah.
here, right now. You don't have to go to school for 150,000 years to learn how to do this. She just showed you.
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
right.
read and follow directions. You can have this in your home. That's the fascinating and wonderful thing about cooking.
That's just a little Kentucky French. Kentucky French is what we'll call it.
Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure to have you here.
Right
Holly
here,
Hill.
just a beautiful work of art. There are people who operate restaurants, then there are people who have a gift.
Aw,
And you're one of those people. And thank you so much for sharing this with us.
it was a pleasure to have
Sharing it
you.
with you guys. Don't say you can't cook. You can cook. Try this at home and you'll pass out. You'll wake up 4 hours later and you'll be like, you didn't go to heaven. You just, it's fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again.
Can you come every day to my kitchen?
Oh,
Make me
yeah.
feel like $1
Hey,
million?
be careful what you ask for. Be careful what
I'll
you
just
ask
put a
for.
little chair over here for 10. You can set up
Oh,
residence here,
this is
please.
magic.